Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to use those stamps that you have forgotten about, that you haven't used, to create an exciting, vibrant background. So I'm going to cheat here because I also want to use my gel prints. I want to use the stuff that I have in my studio, and I have lots of gel prints and I have lots of stamps that really haven't seen the light of day. So today we're going to use all of them. Now I chose this yellow-green one because I'm going with the phrase, "It ain't easy being green." I found a little picture in a magazine and that's where my inspiration came from. Here's a picture of this little girl. She's got quite the pout going on, and I just thought that was a good phrase to do a fun art journal page. So I want to add more to this background. So I grab out some stamps. This one is one that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's a foam stamp from the child section, and I'm using some Hooker's green and I'm brayering it on and just stamping. Now I am not concerned about what the stamp is because it's only going to peek through. I want to make a vibrant background that has a lot of movement in it. I'm using this swirl stamp and I'm using some black paint here. So I'll either use the colors that were in the gel print or I'm using black and white. Now I admit when this swirl went on, it's adding lots of movement to the page, but it also was a little bit more vibrant and upfront than I wanted. But I kept going because I know I'm going to add more layers and everything you put on top is going to push this down, or that was my hope. Now I grabbed this stamp, and this is actually the bottom of a tulip stamp, but it's an interesting motif. So I'm just using it as that, and I'm brayering on white acrylic paint. I want to push back some of that black. And again, I'm working to create a lot of movement. This girl is having basically a temper tantrum, and I just want the background to reflect that. Here's another stamp that has wavy lines. I think it's like a postmark marks, and I'm using green, and then I think I use white as well. But just adding a lot of interest. Everything that I'm adding adds to the whole page, and it's all about those layers. Here I've switched colors. I decided I'm going to add some blue, and I just wanted to introduce another color into this. However, this stamp really didn't give me enough of that color. So of course I'm going to add one more stamp. Have you counted how many stamps I've used? I think by the end I'm close to 7 or 8 of them. I used my dot stamp because that's going to give me some solid blue. Now the blue and the yellow still reads as green, but it gives a different tone. And that's another way you can build interest into the background. I am loving how this looks, but I was afraid that the girl was going to get lost on it, so I wanted to give her something behind her to set her off from the background so she wouldn't get lost. So I grabbed a lid and I'm tracing it. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to highlight around it to make that circle appear. And it's just going to ground that girl, give a little bit more interest to the background. I've done this before. It's a great technique. But right now I'm thinking it's not really doing it. So I'm adding more black, testing my focal image. And since I'm not sure, I'm going to shade around the page, edge the page at this point, just to get what it's going to look like and to help me make decisions about what I want to do next. Sometimes I think it's when I edge in the middle of the project, I think I'm, kind of killing time. So she's not really coming off the page or from the background as much. So I decided I'm going to take some of that yellow and some white, and I'm going to do a bit of a wash over top. I want to knock that back, all that busyness back, so that the girl stands out. And as I'm looking at this now, I'm thinking, okay, it really did that, and it doesn't look so bad. But in the minute, it was like, oh, I do not like this. So that's why I grabbed this stencil and I pulled the paint through the stencil. But that just made the background busy again and didn't work. So I'm going to try. But to give myself some time, I thought, okay, I want to colorize her outfit here. There was some lettering, so I'm putting some gesso and paint over top. Just basically getting rid of that text. Then I decided I'm going to paint this blue. And at this moment, I was not happy. I did not like what was on my page. But you know what? I just kept going. So of course I dug out my stamps and I'm putting some black from that dot stamp, and that mirrors the stamping on there. And okay, that looks a little better. And then I grabbed some neon green and I stamp again with that dot stamp. I didn't want to get too many patterns. I wanted it to read with the background, dots and dots, but I didn't want to get it so busy with pattern again, because my goal is for the girl to stand out, not to get lost in my jungle of a background. So I cut out the girl, glued it down with fluid matte medium, glued down the sentiment, lost that footage, and then I'm grabbing my distress crayon, the green one, and rubbing it on her, and I'm just colorizing the top. It wasn't as green as I wanted, and this was a quick, easy way to doing it. And the distress crayons are something that I found when I cleaned my studio, just like all those stamps, and I want to make an effort to use the supplies that I have. And I'm really enjoying using my distress crayons. Grab my Posca pen and I'm adding little plus signs all the way around. Instead of dashes, I thought, we'll mix it up a little bit. It isn't easy being green. So if you find a magazine picture that you love, that has some funny phrase that can go with it, that's all you need to start an art journal page. That's where I started with this one. I grabbed my General's charcoal and I'm just outlining the girl a little bit, just to, again, make her stand out a little bit more against the background. And while this video is not even 12 minutes long, the process did take me quite a bit longer in real time. But I did have fun and I met my goal of using stuff in my stash, using some of those things that I haven't used. So that's a win in my books. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, ask me a question. Until next time, go get creative.